When you're working with an arts organisation, you might also come across this term income diversification. So, this is something that's becoming more important as the funding landscape changes for arts organisations in this country. When we're starting to try and work out what this means, we need to look at this idea of diversification itself. So, this means really extending the range of products and services or fields of operations that an organisation works in. So, this might be about looking at what you already offer and thinking about an increased variety, so different things that you could offer, or more things that you could offer along different strands of interest. It's good to understand the reasons why an organisation might be called upon or might want to diversify. Those are things like more competition for grants and funding. Also, the loss of traditional streams of income. So, if your organisation had a particular income that they were getting quite regularly, and then that's taken away or that doesn't happen anymore, you might be losing that stream. And it might be down to an over-reliance on one or two particular sources of income. So if anything jeopardises those, if anything in your situation changes, you're in quite a vulnerable position, working out whether you can even carry on. It's also important to ask then, how could your organisation, your arts organisation, diversify what it's doing? Taking some of the language from the world of business, you could focus on the unique selling points, this thing USPs, that your organisation might have. So, what are the things that you can do better than anyone else? And what do you offer that's different from things that are being offered by other organisations or other businesses? It's important to take stock of what you already have. So, thinking about the skills and assets that are tied up in your organisation, that might be things like the staff that you have and their skills. It might also be things like buildings or equipment and knowledge. Knowledge is quite a massive asset that lots of organisations have. Then you have the job of thinking up new uses for these skills and assets and working out ways to open up to new audiences, so to vary the audiences and communities that you're working with. You could do this by reframing what you already do and what you already have. So it doesn't mean completely changing the purpose or the aims and objectives of your organisation, but more thinking about ways to represent those to new people. When we're talking about diversification, we're also thinking about a diversity of ways to approach raising funds, so to approach generating income streams. One of the newest parts of these that it's worth considering is the idea of crowdfunding. So crowdfunding has really grown over the last number of years. And essentially it's the situation where a whole lot of different people contribute a small amount of money. But because there are so many people, that adds up to being quite a large amount of money. You'll see that there are lots of different crowdfunding businesses out there, different platforms that are set up to make this process easier. The different models all have different pros and cons, and when you're working with an arts organisation, you need to work out, or working on a specific project, you need to work out what these different models allow for you. So there are models that really focus on one-off projects, and they're usually offering all or nothing funding. So you would set a funding target, say £5,000, and then work towards reaching that goal. However, if at any point you don't reach that £5,000 goal of pledges from individual backers, then you don't get any of the money. So this is a very particular, one particular type of crowdfunding. There's also crowdfunding by patronage. So like the little widget that we have here from Patreon, and that's paying per outcome, so per thing that's produced. Often see this being used by individual artists. Maybe they're creating videos for YouTube or creating blog posts or web comics, things like that. And they have attracted a number of different people who will each give a small amount of money per episode or per publication that they're making, which allows then those publications and those episodes to go out for free to everyone else at the same time. There are also different flexible funding models. So this is where you would have really, it's a bit more like a traditional donations situation. So you might see it as a tip jar. So there might be a little button on someone's website that allows you to give them £1 or two towards the projects that they're working on and towards their ongoing sustainability. Or it might be more like a project, like a one-off project that's being funded, but rather than it being all or nothing, so you're going for your £5,000 total, rather than it being all or nothing, you get to keep all of the money that you've raised up until that point.